So what does he do? He takes his hat. That's how he would ask for donations, and he put his hand inside the window of the wagon to get the donation. So the minister looks at his face, gives one look at him, and he said, "Come here, Jew." So he got scared. You know, someone come here, Jew. He ran away. Good Vach, everybody. Thank you, everybody who's here. Good Vach. Welcome to the Pray Hard, Play Hard YouTube channel and podcast. If you're watching or listening, thank you very, very much. Let's go on with the story. Okay. So, the Tzaddik Reb David of Lelev once went to his Rebbe was Rebbe Elimelech of Lizhensk. All right, we all know who that was. And he didn't have a lot of money. Of Lizhenik. So he didn't have a lot of money, and therefore he couldn't afford to ride on a wagon, and so he started walking. Now, on the way that he's going, he happened to, another chassid passed by him, and this chassid was a very well-known rich man from Varsha, and he was going in a wagon. So Reb David of Lelev asked him where he's going, and he said he's also going to Lizhensk. So, to Rebbe Elimelech. So Reb David asked him, "Can you please take me also with you?" And he said, "Yeah." He let him come on. Now, the rich man thought that Reb David was, as they say, just some poor man, from the Arche Parche. And this sefer keeps on saying, like, some Joe Schmo calls it Arche Parche.
Term for it?
Arche Parche. Arche means like a guest. Arche Parche, like Ploini Almoini, whatever, So he kind of was poking fun at him. Whatever it was, he decided to fixate on, to make fun of him. He made fun of him. But Reb David obviously didn't answer. He's a very humble person. He's a tzaddik. He didn't answer. He didn't say anything. And this happened throughout the entire journey as they're going to Lizhensk. So when they finally came to Lizhensk, the rich man went first to speak to Elimelech, and Reb David was taking that time to get ready, right, to make that proper achanos preparations to speak to his Rebbe. And only after a little bit of time did he come into Reb Elimelech of Lizhensk, and Reb David and Reb Elimelech spoke for 2 hours. When Reb David left Reb Elimelech of Lizhensk's chiddush room, he turns to the rich man. So Reb David turns to the rich man and he says, "Go, because I'm not going to be coming back with you. I have to stay here. So don't wait for me to give me a ride. And when you go back to your city, you're going to hear someone yelling. You're going to hear someone crying out. Go after that voice, and you'll know what you have to do." Right? So he says something's going to happen on the way. And now when this rich man saw that Rebbe Elimelech was speaking to Reb David for 2 hours, he realized that he's not some Arche Parche, and he regretted that he made fun of him. And so when he heard these words from Reb David, he didn't just think it was stam words. He really paid attention. He's like, okay. So the rich man, he was on his way home. He was traveling close to the forest. And all of a sudden he hears someone crying out in Polish. And right away he remembers what Reb David tells him, and he went towards the voice, which was mamash in the very thick forest, and he came to a place where there was, can you guess?
Bandits.
Vadi, you can guess this one. No, what's it called? Quicksand, right? There's quicksand and mud. There's a person sinking in the, with his horses and his wagon, and he can't get out. It was some really important minister. So right away, he had a thick rope with him. He took a rope and he tied it up to the other person's wagon. Right, he did what the F-150s can do nowadays. He had real horsepower, right? And he
2 horsepower.
2 horsepower. And he pulled out this guy. They weren't out of out of danger right away because this guy was in the mud for a very long time. It was very cold outside, so he already had caught a cold. He already had, he was sick. So this rich man, right away gave him new clothing, warm clothing, and he gave him food and drink until he felt a little bit better. So he asks him, the rich man asks this minister, where are you from? So he says, from Varsha. So the rich man says, I'm also from Varsha. And I'm going, and I'm going there. So you can come with me and you can stay in my house until you're fully better. So he basically allowed him to stay in his house until he fully recovered. And that's what happened. Right when he came to his house, he took off all of his, he helped him get out of his wet clothing, and he laid him down on the couch, and he gave him tea and coffee, like we have over here. And, in the next morning, he felt much better, and he was very thankful. So he basically saved this guy's life, nursed him back to health. Now, after a few days, this minister sends someone to call the rich man. He wants to repay him. He says, "What can I give you? If not for you, I would have either sunk in the mud, or out of so much effort of trying to get out, I would die right there on the spot." So the rich man says, "You don't have to pay me back. It's enough that I saved someone's life. That's enough of a reward for me." So the minister tells him, "Tell me at least your name and your address, so I should always remember who the person who saved me was." So he gave him, and he wrote him down in his memoirs, like the Sefer HaMelech. Anyway, so a lot of time passed since then, and this rich man was no longer rich. One bad business deal after another, and he lost all of his money, to the point where he had to sell everything that he owned, and he had to go begging. He totally, lost all of his whole lifestyle that he had. And he was going around, from city to city, until finally he circled back to his own town, Varsha, back to Warsaw. And even there, he was so removed from the life that he previously had. He was in such a destitute situation that he had to ask for donations, even in his own hometown, where he was from. And one of the days that he was in Varsha, he sees a very important guy going in a very nice wagon. So what does he do? He takes his hat. That's how he would ask for donations, and he put his hand inside the window of the wagon to get the donation. So the minister looks at his face, gives one look at him, and he said, "Come here, Jew." So he got scared. Someone, "Come here, Jew." He ran away. So he told his servant to run after him, to grab him and bring him back. That's what he did. And he brings him back, and the governor tells him, "Don't be afraid. I'm not going to do anything. I just want you to tell me, what's your name." So he tells him his name. So the governor says, "You don't recognize me?" He says, "No, don't recognize you." So he says, I'll remind you. Do you remember that many years ago you saved a certain minister in the forest of Varsha?" So he says, "Yeah." So he says, I'm that guy. You saved me. And how in the world did you get from where you were then to being such a poor person?" So he tells him all the things that happened to him from then until now. Right away, this guy took out, this governor took out a note worth 2,000 ruble that he should be able to go and pull out money from the bank. And right away, he started to do business again, and again he had atzlacha. He was successful, and he soon came back to the way he was before. So everyone lived happily ever after. Between that time, Rabbi Elimelech Chavlizhensk already had passed away, and the Chayzer of Lublin took over. And Reb David of Lelev, he also became a rebbe, right? He became more famous and he had followers. So this rich man, because he couldn't go to Rabbi Elimelech anymore, of Lizhensk, he went to Reb David. And he didn't even know he didn't make the connection that Reb David was the poor man that he made fun of. He went to Reb David, who was, he was tzaddik, since he couldn't go to Reb Elimelech. But Reb David recognized him right away, and he said, "Tell me everything that happened to you." And so he told him everything that happened, how he was rich, he became poor, he became rich again. And so Reb David tells him, "You should know that when you made fun of me, there was a gzera from Shemayim that you need to die. Because you can't be saying such words to a tzaddik. It's not simple. And I knew about it, and so I went to Reb Elimelech to figure out how we can alleviate your gzera, how we can take it away. And so we made a compromise. You should become poor, and a poor person, someone who has nothing, he's considered dead. And that's how you'll have a kapara for your avera. But since you also did me a favor, at the end of the day you brought me to the tzaddik. So I also wanted to do you a favor. So therefore, after 10 years, we decided that all your tzaras will end, and you'll go back to where you were. So this is a story, an amazing story of Reb Melech of Lizhensk, Reb David of Lelev, and we should see miracles in our lives without any of the hardship. We should be careful the words we say, who we say it to, and we should see Mashiach very, very, very soon. Right now, thank you everybody for watching.
Is this a Hakel event?
This is a Hakel event. Thank you.
Well said.
Is this a Hakel event? Very good. This is a Hakel event, and
So where can they find this video aside from on all these cameras? Where is this going?
go to Pray Hard, Play Hard on YouTube
It's on YouTube.
or on Spotify.
This one's on.
Okay. Good luck, everybody. Thank you for joining. God bless you. Mwah.